Marjorie Taylor Green is up to her shenanigans again and pissing off all the congressional Republicans by doing exactly what her constituents voted her in to do. I'm Ted with Forward the Line. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. Please like, follow, share, all of that lovely shit. From the liberal rag, Green's deepening split with GOP leaves Republicans exasperated. So exasperated, in fact, that I'm going to skip half this article. My job, quote, my job title is not cheerleader for Republicans in Congress. I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about Republicans in Congress. And Republicans in Congress are the ones that need to come up with a plan to fix the health insurance, she added. Yet several of Green's House GOP colleagues and GOP sources told The Hill that they are more thrown off than ever by Green's positions and wish she would take a different strategy to achieve her goals. And, like I said, her goals are based on what the people requested. Now, this has to do with the ACA tax credits that we all know about at this point. Now, in my previous episode, I railed against the Democrats for causing the shutdown and that it was a good thing that Trump is firing a bunch of people because that's good, downsizing the scope of the federal government, fantastic. This is another story, though, and I understand both sides of this argument. Marjorie is on the Democratic side of this argument, even though she is, in fact, a Republican. It's a little tough to hear because 5 million people could easily lose their health insurance. So what the ACA credits were is back in 2021, during the COVID pandemic Black Plague, they decided to pump millions and billions of dollars into the economy, and one of those things was subsidies to limit the cap of health insurance premiums at 8.5% of a family's household income. Okay. Then on top of that, you have the complete abolishment, basically, of the cap for getting those tax credits. So it used to be before that, there was, if you were at a particular percentage or below of the poverty line, you had access to these tax credits. They got rid of it. So basically, a lot of middle income people, a lot of working class people suddenly had access to middle, decent level insurance plans. And that's a fantastic thing. And during that time, people were scared, so it's understandable to want that. Now, like any good government program, a sunset clause was added, but 9 times out of 10, nothing ever ends coming out of the federal government and lasts forever in perpetuity. But in this instance, they actually want to let it fail, which, by the way, is a good thing because we need to change the whole narrative, the whole feeling of keeping these government programs running forever and ever. If something doesn't work, let it go, get rid of it, put in something else. Right now, we just let everything go and let everything build up, and then that's how you end up trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. So it is a good thing that we're doing this, just bad timing. So there are some options you can do if these tax credits were to go away. But first, let me go ahead and tell you what exactly she said.
Bull. Okay, let's take health insurance, for example. I'm a conservative, and I can say we're $37 trillion in debt. We cannot afford a socialized healthcare plan in America. We literally cannot. But at the same time, I can say we sent almost $300 billion to Ukraine. We sent $30 billion to Israel in 2024 alone. I can say we definitely should extend these ACA tax credits, and we need to build an off-ramp because it'll cost $30 billion a year to do it. We can build an off-ramp and open up a new system that will serve every American. Yeah.
Right.
So my conservative friends will say, Marjorie, no, we cannot do that. We cannot spend that money on that. But I'm not willing to allow millions of Americans, people I personally know, constituents in my district, I'm not willing to allow their premiums to double and triple overnight starting in January of 2026. I'm willing to say, no, we're going to have to fund it, but we're going to have to build an off-ramp and build into a new system.
Okay, so yeah, I get that premise, and this is why a lot of people like her. This is what I think not only her constituents but many people across the country want to see with their politicians. They want realism. They want, like, look, you can have I was about to say elites, but you can have experts, both really, that kind of know budget policy in and out. They know these larger scale things, and I get that. That's necessary, and it should be used in many aspects. But you have people in the House of Representatives that they need to simply mirror what their constituents want. And yet you have people like, Ben Shapiro and others that completely rail against her and call her incompetent, which I don't think she's incompetent. I think she just does what her people want her to do. And like the old adage is, you should get what you voted for, and you should get it good and hard. And that's what people want. So they want, so of course she's going to gain a hell of a following over this. Now, the lack of specifics is in fact a problem because, okay, you can say let's build an off-ramp, but how are we going to do that? How are we going to build that off-ramp? Well, there are a couple things that aren't really brought up about what might take the place of these increased ACA tax credits. Now, there are a few things, but they need to be done very carefully, very quickly, and very tactfully by the Trump administration and those people in power. So one of the things that happened because of these subsidies is called silver loading. Now, what silver loading is inflating, similar to price gouging, the cost of a mid-tier plan, or what they refer to as the silver plan in some, companies. The reason they inflated it is because it's used as a benchmark for subsidies. So if more people are on that plan, if that plan costs more subsidies come out of the federal government. And like any snake oil business that is a disgusting trash heap of garbage people, i.e. the healthcare industry and insurance industry, they're going to take advantage of that and run with it, which is exactly what's been happening. Now, there's something called CSRs, cost-sharing reductions, which are designed to lower out-of-pocket costs for low-income buyers. The current budget proposals in the 25 federal budget reconciliation bill include reinstating direct federal funding for CSRs, which would eliminate the need for silver loading. So it's returning to the way it was before COVID, before these things. So yes, there are some people that are going to see an increase, but like I said, if it's done with tremendous pressure, you can get the free market to act. You can get these companies to start competing again and actually still receiving money to a certain extent, but less money, and they can start trying to get more clients because a lot of companies have already done this, right? There are many out there, I won't name any, but there are many that have already known that Trump has been in office, and they started making these plans, changes, moving money from bucket to bucket, coming up with new ways of saving people money. And there are other companies that are spending all their time, effort, and energy on whining, dining, and 69ing politicians through lobbyists and hoping and praying that this stays in effect and then get their check. So when it doesn't happen, you'll have some companies that, hey, all those people, hey, come over here. We got you. We'll take care of you. Because there's two ways to look at the statement that 5 million people are going to lose their health insurance. You can look at it from the way most do. Oh no, 5 million people are going to lose their health insurance and they're not going to be able to take care of their families. And that's fair. And that's honest. And I understand that. But there's another way to look at that. Oh no, 5 million people are going to lose their health insurance and we're going to lose a gigantic amount of customers. That's, at the end of the day, the insurance companies are business. It's a business. If they lose all these people, two things are going to happen. Either they're going to try and raise their prices, which will F them in the long run, or they're going to have to actually re-engage with the market and start competing against the other companies that have already started to drop their prices. And if they don't, they lose all their market share. If they do, then we got a really competitive free market insurance industry again, which would help a lot of things, even though the ACA as a whole is terrible and hasn't worked, and we should definitely build an off-ramp from that. It's kind of unclear and unspecific on building an off-ramp from this situation because, in my opinion, how are you going to spend that $30 billion on these ACA credits and then also spend more money to try and build the off-ramp? Because it's not like the off-ramp can just happen. We're going to have to spend money for that too, to work up some plan to get us off of it. Now, believe me, I would much rather that money going to Ukraine and Israel be redirected into our own company. She's not wrong there. She's absolutely right. But let's think realistically in this particular situation. We can do that, but if this is what's causing the government shutdown, then let's talk about this right now and focus on this. So it's a tough decision, and I completely understand why people are freaking out and worried about it going up. And so another thing, besides the silver loading, they could also swiftly and tactfully start cutting regulations for these companies. So Republicans have floated a, quote, menu of options for ACA overhauls in 25, including deregulation to reduce government mandates on plan design, pricing, and sales. For example, allowing interstate insurance sales or expanding short-term and association health plans as alternatives. So these would theoretically create new products, create new avenues to gain customers, and a lot of them will probably be a reduction in costs. But again, if it's not done quickly, people will suffer. And if people suffer, they don't like the government. And if they don't like the government, you can't continue to get productive policy through. So listen, Republicans, if you're going to do this, that other shit better be top tier ready to go. And if it's not, then you better fucking keep that money flowing. This is on you now, guys. This is on you. All right, so there's one more thing I want to say because it speaks to why people actually like her. And I'm playing this so that some of you out there who may watch this can get an idea of why people actually like her. And she's not as crazy as the media makes her out to be. So let me play this real quick.
At this point, inflation is stabilizing, sort of. But prices have not come down at all.
The job market is weakening.
Job market is still extremely difficult.
Right.
Wages have not gone up. Health insurance premiums are going to go up. Car insurance goes up every year. People's homeowners insurance goes up. Rent is going up. Young people have no hope of buying a home. And then when they try to buy a home, they end up, like I said, competing with like Blackstone or somebody else.
The average home buyer now is 38 years old. It just came out.
Right.
The average home buyer, 38.
On the flip side,
That's a problem.
Baby boomers can't sell their homes.
Right.
They pay massive capital gains taxes. They don't know, like, well, what do I move to? How do I downsize? I can't replace what I have.
Right.
So there are problems on both ends.
Right.
These are the issues that matter so much to Americans. These are the issues. I know people that literally, some of my own personal family members, some of my own personal friends, they're getting by month to month, charging up their credit cards.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it there because, see, that's speaking to the people. That's being a realist. That's understanding their problems where they're at, where those people are at. That's what that is. And it really does go to show you that for those politicians that actually talk to their constituents, that's kind of why they do really well. Most of them don't really talk to their constituents. They're either fundraising, or they're on trips around the world, or getting wined and dined by lobbyists. So I see why she does well. And those are real problems that are understandable. First of all, I've said this in another episode. The housing market, one of the best ways to bring that down is deregulate the hell out of it. Put more pressure on the local and state governments to lower their regulations on it. Stuff like permitting times and costs. All that should be revamped, revised, and we can bring costs down. If the interest rates continue to drop, which I hope the Fed does, once the housing market regains its foothold and pushes forward, it's going to ripple out to the rest of the economy and be fantastic. It's the same thing in reverse of what happened in 2008. But also, she made this point about credit cards. Yeah, people are living on their own credit cards, which will obviously be a problem in a couple years if we don't do something. So listen, Republicans, if you want to do this, but have some shit in the wings, man. Have this stuff ready to go, and if you don't, do it quickly, and if you do, talk about it. And the fact that you're not talking about it very often leads me to believe that it's not as top tier as we would like to hope. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, follow, share, all of that lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. And as always, be happy, be healthy, get educated, stay motivated, forward the line.